Thinking about buying a franchise? Then the How to Buy a Franchise show is just for you. Here's your host, Dr. John Hayes.
Hi, I'm John Hayes. I'm at the International Franchise Expo. Welcome to the How to Buy a Franchise show. This is a big show, the IFE, the biggest in the United States, occurs every year in June, about this time, Father's Day weekend. It's at the Javits Center. About 400 exhibitors, thousands of people come through this show during the weekend. One of those exhibitors is Gary Findley. He's my guest now. He's going to talk about a new franchise concept called Restoration One. But Gary, welcome to the show.
Thank you, John. Thanks for having me.
Let's go back to before Curves.
Yeah.
So Gary was a franchisor of Curves, but before Curves, what were you doing? And give us the quick overview.
I've been in this industry, and franchising industry, for about 30 years, which is about 30 years ago is when I met you at the Dwyer Group. When they just had Rainbow, and Don was there, and I learned franchising, really enjoyed it. And so then after I left there, started Curves, and I was the president of that company for 8 years, and we took it from 2 locations to 8,000 in about 8 years, and had a great run. And then I started doing development for other companies, and had about 20 different franchises I represented. And recently I came across Restoration One about 2 years ago, and this is just a model I really like. It really fits. If I'm 55 years old, I said if I'd buy a business today, what I don't want it to look like, and this is one of those.
So you're not doing the development for a lot of other companies.
I'm not anymore.
You're focusing on Restoration One.
That is correct.
And how did that happen? Where did the Restoration One fella came out of Florida, I think?
Yes. He was based in Florida, and I was introduced to him by a friend at the time. I was doing some development for about 3 other companies, and he reached out to me and said, hey, I really need help in building the company. And so I started off originally just doing development, and one thing led to another. About 6 months later, he said, look, I want you to take over the company. And I moved it from sunny Florida to Waco, Texas, where everybody wants to be, right?
Right, of course.
So I took it to Waco, and we have had tremendous results. 100 locations just this last year.
Okay, when you took it over, how many locations did he have?
We had about 20.
And now there are how many?
135.
135, okay. All in the United States, but I saw you in London last time,
yeah.
So you must be developing outside the United States too.
We're trying to. I was in London to look and try to find a master license for London, so we do want to take it international, but today we're just domestic.
Yeah. Okay, so restoration, it seems like a crowded niche, that there are a lot of restoration companies.
Absolutely.
Going all the way back to Rainbow,
yeah.
One of the very first in that market. So why restoration? How I know how Curves was sexy, but how would restoration be sexy?
Well, it's not really sexy, but I found, like I said, when I said I'm going to look for something myself, I wanted those things: no brick and mortar, low investment, low overhead, high margins, and recession resistant. And those are the 5 things I wanted myself. And I found that in this business, and while it was a crowded market, there's always room for the next guy. If you take whatever it is, Subway was the big one before, but behind that you have the Jimmy John's and all the other franchises. So I felt like we could come in, take my experience and my team, and put systems in place to really build a nice company. We're one of the few people in our industry that our name actually says what we do.
Yeah.
So Restoration One, I hired a national branding firm, I hired a national PR firm. We really went out and just went after the market. We did it really by putting the right systems in, and our buyers today are they're business people. They're not the man in a van that it used to be. They're a guy that wants to build a business, a true business.
So in the restoration business, as I understand it, if you're not cozy with insurance companies, you're not going to get business. Is that the way it works now? Or?
We today, Restoration One does not focus at all on any program work with insurance companies. Obviously, insurance pays the bill, so when we go to a homeowner, it is paid by insurance, but we focus on really the first responders. To us, that's going to be the plumbers, it's going to be electricians, HVAC, contractors. We get out in front of those, so we do a lot of focus on our sales, but we don't work from the contract work. That's just not our model.
Okay, and the restoration business is, it's difficult. It's challenging. It's in the middle of the night. It's dirty.
Yep.
Who wants to get into this kind of business?
I will tell you that the last 100 franchises that we have put in over the last 12 months have all been, 95% of these guys have come out of the executive world, and I'm talking about guys that were on Wall Street. These are white-collar people, some of them seven-figure income guys, and they said, you know what, I want to build a business. And when I looked at Restoration One, what I really thought about it was that, you know, it could ramp up quickly. I didn't have to use all my money in my 401 to build it up, and I don't have to have a lot of employees and overhead and those kind of things. So it really, and you know what, truly, the amount of times I own 4 of them myself, and my son worked for me for the longest time, and I don't know in a year and a half he ever had to get up in the middle of the night. Usually it's when you get up in the morning and you step in that water that you go, okay,
right.
There's a problem, right? So it is today it's an executive person that's looking to build an organization.
Okay. What's it cost to become a Restoration One franchisee?
Yeah, so the all-in cost, franchise fee and everything, between $77,000 and $150,000. So it's a relatively low investment.
Yeah.
We have financing on our equipment and vans, and so it makes it very affordable.
And what's the franchise fee?
Franchise fee is $49,500.
Okay, and that gives you how much training and support and what goes on with that?
So we do a 2-week training course. We have it down in Texas. We're actually in the process. We bought a brand new training facility that we're about to build a flood house in there. So we've got 2 weeks out there. In addition to that, we have someone that is your person ramping you up before you come to training, and once you leave training, you have a franchise consultant that is your person from then on out, that is your go-to no matter what, whether it be technical work or just on sales or whatever it is. Then we have all the software to help them run their business, and we really teach them how to become a business owner.
Mm-hmm. And typically, now you're talking about, you know, Wall Street types becoming franchisees, but who's the typical franchisee, or who's your ideal franchisee?
Ideal franchisee is just going to be that person that has been in the corporate world for a while. They understand how to build a business. Again, we're not really looking for that one person who wants to just get out there and take it slow and do a little bit of time. We find the ones that they're business-minded people, so they've been managing organizations and corporations. That is our franchisee today.
Now, when you took the business over and you applied some new systems to it, were you able to perform the revenue generation within the business itself? So, you know, when the founder of the company was operating, he was at a certain level financially. Were you able to impact the earnings so that it went to a higher level?
Absolutely. We've seen the earnings. I would say we're probably between 20 and 35% increase in earnings just with the systems we put in place. So absolutely. We have put, you know, the people, my team consists of people who've been in the industry, so they're industry experts, so they know the business technically. The other ones have been in the franchising business, so we have a good mix of both. They know how to teach people how to build a business.
Yeah. What's the biggest challenge that Restoration One franchisees have?
I think it's probably the same. Most people, it's employees, you know, staffing. You know, we use salespeople, so we try to hire and train salespeople. So, you know, technicians aren't overly hard to find, but hiring and keeping salespeople. So we've got real aggressive in finding good programs put in place to hire these people to where they can make a good living, and they can. So that's been our biggest focus.
Yeah. So you're here at the International Franchise Expo, and you're seeing a lot of people at your booth. Where are they coming from, and how many units do you think you're going to sell as a result of being an expo like this?
Well, I mean, typically, I'll tell you, if I can sell 2 or 3 out of it, I've been doing these expos for 15 years, and if I walk away from one and do 2 or 3 sales out of them, I'm excited. You know, today's Thursday, it's the first day of the expo. We're seeing a lot of international, which is good. We want to move internationally eventually within the next year, but you know, this is today's been a lot of people coming in from, you know, other, you know, domestically as well. And our goal is in the next 5 years to have 500 locations. We're on track to hit 200 this year, and so we've busted our goals so far every year.
Very good. Gary Findley's been my guest. We're at the International Franchise Expo. We've been talking about Restoration One. You might be interested in that franchise. If so, we want to put you in touch with Gary and his team. I blog at howtobuyafranchise.com, and of course the Franchise Show has dozens of interviews with franchisors and franchisees and others who support the world of franchising, so please check out more of the interviews. Look for my forthcoming book in the fall of 2017. I'm going to do the second edition of 12 Amazing Franchise Opportunities, where 12 franchisors each have a chapter in the book to tell you about their story and why you might want to become one of their franchisees. I'm John Hayes. Thanks for tuning in.
Thank you for listening to How to Buy a Franchise Show. If you want immediate assistance, visit howtobuyafranchise.com to contact Dr. John Hayes for a free consultation.